It's the last one. It's the last one. It's the last one. What's up, everybody? Team Fanatic here. Hope you all are having a fantastic day and welcome to another post-game reaction. In this one, you know what? This is kind of like a happy and sad moment because this is my final Titans reaction of this season. So it's kind of sad. But it's also my final Titans reaction of this season. Thank goodness, because this team, I love them, but man, they have driven me crazy this year. They have cost me hours of sleep. My hair is turning gray. And of course, for our final game of the season, they gave me tons more to complain about. Titans lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars 41. Jeez Louise, to 7. Folks, I tried my best to make the most out of this situation. Yes, I know we're not going to the playoffs. I've known that. Titans fans have known that for quite some time. But this was our last game of the year, I tried to make the most of it. I did everything I could to just go into this thing with the best intentions that I possibly could, Like sometimes me and my dad will get Taco Bell, not a sponsor, but would very love to be in the future. We would get some food, we would sit down, we would relax, we would enjoy some Titans goodness here. And in this first quarter, to start it off, we got something good to talk about here. So, Jags, they get a 3-and-out. And on the first play, Simmons, he gets a sack, his 11th of the year. I will give him his due later. And for the first Titans drive, it was a good one here, 3rd and 10 from the 42. Io Manor, he has a big 39-yard catch and run. And then Cam Ward, my guy, has a 7-yard touchdown run. He did get hit. He was shaking up, going to the sideline. He went back and forth to the locker room. And so let me talk about what happened next, and then I will address what happened to Cam Ward. So Jaguars, they respond. Now they're looking like the Jags of this year. They go 7 plays, 67 yards on this next drive. Lawrence, he was 5 for 5 on this drive, and he finds Parker Washington for the 23-yard touchdown. And now Titans have to respond, but it would have to be without Cam Ward. Darn it! Of all the time, that's aggravating because he's been so healthy all year long on an offensive line that for a good amount of this year struggled. And, of course, the last game of the year, he gets hurt. It was a shoulder injury. Thankfully, I did hear that he's not going to need surgery for it. So it wasn't as so severe as it might have looked. But Brandon Allen, he would have to step in there for the remainder of this game, taking his first snaps since December 8th of 2024. So with that being said, with Allen taking snaps for us in a year where he wasn't we didn't play him at all on a battered Titans offensive line coming into this game, there would be times when, we would feel that. Titans fans would feel that. 8:07 into the second quarter, 3rd and 18 at the Jags 4:45. Allen's pass intended for Io Manor is picked off by Antonio Johnson, and it's a house call all the way the other way. Touchdown Jaguars. And the Jags defense coming into this game, we already knew it. Yes, we know. This was a big-time game for them, high stakes to clinch the AFC South, and their defense has been playing great. Jags defense had the second most takeaways in the NFL with 30 coming into this game. So they get one right here. And so fast forward to right after the 2-minute warning timeout. Lawrence, he finds Morris for a 5-yard touchdown. So at this point, the Jags were starting to just really feel it right here. They were starting to score points. But then just before the half ends, they got to rub it in my face even more Because Cam Little, he has a 67-yard field goal. Nails it. The second longest field goal in NFL history to end the half. And again, as we saw as this game went on, the Jags, they would score just more points and more points and more points. For the sanity, for the sake of myself and trying to keep myself sane and trying to keep my brain from exploding, to sum up what would happen for the rest of this game, Jags would go on to score the next 10 points. The Titans would have 4 straight scoreless drives, 2 3-and-outs, a failed 4th down conversion, and a missed field goal. Joey Slide, that's it, dude. That is it. Why, Joey? Why? I mean, just last week you did so good against the Saints. What did he make? Like 4 field goals in that game? And here, you can't even give us another field goal, just something else to be joyful about, something else to be happy about. Oh, this team. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's the last game. The last game! So, yeah, Jags would go on to have a dominating win. They clinched the AFC South. They will play the Bills. That's a big-time matchup right there. Should be a very interesting game. You know, talking about these Tennessee Titans right here, we had to overcome a lot this year. Most notably, we had the head coaching change. Brian Callahan was fired, I believe it was after the Raiders game where he was fired. Which, like, looking back now at the final standings of this year and the fact that the Raiders have the first overall pick and the fact that Pete Carroll got fired, I'm like, yeah, you know what? That was the time. That was the right time to let Brian go. You lose to that team, yeah, like, it's curtains for you. And so we had to overcome that. We had to overcome a lot of changes to the offense. But with that being said, I feel like we had a lot of guys, veterans and rookies alike, a lot of guys step up and have pretty solid years. Again, despite so much change and so much chaos with the team. First and foremost, of course, Jeffrey Simmons. Despite the fact that he did miss some games due to injury, Jeffrey Simmons still racked up 11 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. And here's a stat about Simmons that I just had to talk about. So big shout out to Nick Suss for this stat right here. So in 2025, Simmons had a pass rush win rate of 20.1% and 40 tackles on plays deemed offensive failures. The only other 20-plus win percentage and 40-plus stop seasons for interior defensive linemen, the only 2 other instances where that has happened is that it happened for Aaron Donald in 2018 and 2021. No doubt Jeffrey Simmons is a big piece of our team and a big piece in us going to where, like, we want to go. Like, us winning a Super Bowl. Yeah, that's the expectations that I have for my Tennessee Titans. If we are to get there, I feel like we have to keep Jeffrey Simmons on our roster. He's had an unbelievable year, arguably the best year of his entire career. So keeping him is big time. And, you know, I'm hoping that in the draft, we do snag some other defensive players, like some other guys that can help Jeffrey Simmons and our defense out as a whole. And, you know, while I'm on the topic of rookies, I have to give a shout out to 3 rookies, 3 guys who I think had amazing first years: Gunnar Helm, Chimere DK, and Alec Iomanner. We had so many great receivers who had tons of plays, tons of touchdowns, all without Calvin Ridley. So, like, when he comes back, like, imagine how more explosive our offense will be. Tony Pollard, give him props as well. He had another great year, his 4th straight season with over 1,000 yards rushing. And, of course, we got to end it with talking about my guy, our main man at quarterback, Cam Ward. This year, Ward, he did have to overcome a lot of adversity, but you know what? That's what he does. That's who he is. That's how we got into this position, being the first overall pick, and I think he had a very solid year. He had 3,169 yards. He racked up that many yards, and I believe that led all rookie quarterbacks. He had 15 touchdowns, and there's no doubt, Cam Ward, like, he got better and he grew more confident as this season went on. And I do want to talk about this stat right here. So big shout out to Matt Curry Sports for this stat. Cam Ward, in his last 8 games of his rookie season, he had 12 touchdowns, a 62.4% completion percentage, and he had 1,511 total yards. I have no doubt in my mind that, like, Cam Ward, he is our guy. He not only did that, but he had the most passing yards by a rookie quarterback in franchise history. That's big time, baby. So my overall point here, why I wanted to talk about all these great players that we have on our roster, is that, like, we have the pieces in place. We just need to find the right head coach. If we find the right head coach, I argue that we could be like this year's Patriots. We could be like this year's Jaguars. We could be like this year's Bears. We could be like this year's Broncos. Teams that had the pieces, had the talent there, like it was there. They just needed the right head coach, the right leader to guide their team toward greatness. General Manager Mike Borgonzi, he will be in charge of finding our next head coach. He will be the head of that coaching search. And there's a lot of names out there, you know, like Stefanski got fired, Harbaugh got fired. So, like, there are definitely some names out there. So I feel like we should definitely try to interview those guys first and foremost. I also heard that, you know, we might be talking to Matt Nagy from the Chiefs. I've also heard we might be talking to Mike McCarthy, which I'm not the biggest fan of that one, to be honest. Also, Mike Borgonzi, he will oversee the salary cap as well for the Titans during the offseason, which, you know, we got a lot of money right here. I do believe we have the most cap space out of any team in the entire NFL. So, like, there's definitely a lot of money that we can use, a lot of money that we can spend to bring in more great players, bring in some veterans to play for these Titans. So I think that's where the focus definitely should be heading into this offseason for Mike Borgonzi and the entire Titans staff, which is like, we got to find the right head coach. We got to spend that salary cap money wisely, gear up, prepare, and get ready for next season. But fans, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Fans, I do plan on making a NFL playoff prediction video, so stay tuned for that when that video gets here. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's going to do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. If you all enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and you can join our Fanatic Army. And a honey salutes to all of you as always, and I hope that all of you have a fantastic day. One last time, tighten up.